Lyra's hands shook as she watched the video recording for the 100th time. On her screen, a human lifted something that weighed 3 times more than their body weight to save a trapped child. It wasn't the act of heroism that made her nervous. It was the raw power displayed by the human body. Her silver scales shimmered with anxiety as she paused the recording. How can something so dangerous be allowed to roam freely in the galaxy? She muttered, making another note in her research journal. As a starborn anthropologist, Lyra had studied many species, but humans fascinated and terrified her the most. The walls of her office were covered with charts showing human capabilities. One displayed their incredible endurance. They could chase prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. Another showed their remarkable healing abilities. They could recover from injuries that would kill most species. But what scared her most was their unpredictable nature and their history of warfare. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. "Enter," she called out, quickly closing the video file. Professor Reed, her department head, glided into the room on his hover platform. Like all starborn, his silvery skin reflected the room's light, but his was darker with age. "Lyra, I have an exciting opportunity for you." She straightened in her chair, her head tendrils curling with interest. "What kind of opportunity, Professor?" "Your research on humans has been thorough," he said, glancing at her wall of charts. "But it's all been from a safe distance. The Council believes it's time for direct observation." Lyra's scales lost their shine, turning a pale gray. "Direct observation." Her voice trembled slightly. "Yes. You've been assigned to Space Station Unity for the next 6 months. It's a joint venture between humans and several other species. Perfect for your research." The room seemed to spin around her. "But Professor, my current methods are yielding good results. I don't see why." "Lyra." He cut her off gently. "You can't study a species properly without meeting them. Your fear is based on historical records and isolated incidents. This is your chance to see the full picture." She wanted to argue, but she knew he was right. Still, the thought of being surrounded by humans made her feel cold inside. "When do I leave?" she asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "The transport leaves in 3 days. Everything has been arranged." He placed a data crystal on her desk. "This contains your travel details and station protocols. Don't worry too much. Unity Station has an excellent safety record." After he left, Lyra sat in silence for a long time, staring at the data crystal. Her research had shown her that humans could break bones with their bare hands, survive in extreme conditions, and had a history of solving problems through conflict. And now she would be living among them. She began packing her research equipment with trembling hands, carefully storing her data tablets and scanning devices. Each item she packed reminded her of a different frightening fact about humans: their ability to eat almost anything, their incredible pain tolerance, their pack bonding with anything that showed them kindness. The next 3 days passed too quickly. Before she knew it, Lyra was boarding the transport ship, her personal belongings and research equipment stored safely away. As the ship departed, she watched her homeworld shrink in the viewport, its beautiful silver clouds swirling across its surface. "It's just research," she told herself, trying to calm her racing heart. "Observe, document, and stay safe. No need to interact more than necessary." But as the ship entered faster than light travel, she couldn't shake the feeling that her life was about to change forever. She just hoped she would survive the experience. In her cabin, she opened her research journal one last time before arrival. Day 0 of Human Observation Mission. Primary goal: study human behavior from safe distance. Secondary goal: understand why galaxy allows such dangerous species to travel freely. Personal note: must remember they can't smell fear. Small comfort asterisk. Space Station Unity lived up to its name, at least in appearance. Through the transport ship's viewport, Lyra could see vessels from dozens of different species docked at its massive arms. The station itself looked like a giant wheel spinning slowly in space, its silver surface gleaming in the light of the nearby star. Her quarters were in the outer ring, far from the main human living areas, exactly as she had requested. The room was simple but comfortable, with scaled-down furniture suitable for her smaller size. She spent the first 3 days setting up her research equipment and watching humans through the station's security feeds, which she had permission to access for her study. Everything was going according to plan until the room's temperature control system broke down on the 4th day. Starborn needed specific environmental conditions to function properly, and the rising heat was making her scales itch uncomfortably. "Station I," she called out, her voice tight with worry. "I need a maintenance request." "Request logged," the AI responded. "A technician will arrive within the hour." Lyra paced nervously. She had hoped to avoid direct human contact for at least a few more weeks. "Please send a non-human technician," she added quickly. "Negative. All environmental system technicians currently on duty are human. This is classified as a priority repair due to your species' temperature requirements." Her scales turned a pale gray as she heard a knock on her door just 20 minutes later. Taking a deep breath, she pressed the door control, keeping herself at what she calculated to be a safe distance. The human who entered was smaller than she expected, though still much larger than her. He wore a standard station maintenance uniform and carried a tool bag that probably weighed as much as she did. "Hi there," he said softly, as if sensing her nervousness. "I'm Jack. The AI said you're having temperature control issues." Lyra nodded, keeping her eyes on his hands. According to her research, human attacks usually started with their hands. "Yes, it's too warm." Jack moved slowly, making his actions obvious as he opened his tool bag. "I'll take a look at the control panel first, if that's okay." He waited for her nod before approaching the wall panel. As he worked, Lyra found herself observing him with growing curiosity. Her research indicated that humans often grew frustrated with technical problems, sometimes responding with violence. But Jack remained calm, methodically checking each component. "Ah, here's your problem," he said after a few minutes. "The thermal regulator is miscalibrated. Easy fix." His hands moved carefully among the wires and components. Lyra couldn't help but notice how gentle his movements were, despite those hands being capable of crushing metal. "You're very careful," she said before she could stop herself. Jack smiled, and to her surprise, it didn't look threatening at all. "Of course. These components are delicate. Plus, I can tell you're not comfortable with humans, so I'm trying to move slowly and predictably." Her head tendrils curled in surprise. "You noticed? It's pretty common, actually. Lots of species are nervous around us at first. There we go. Systems reset. The temperature should start dropping now." He packed his tools away with the same careful movements. "Thank you," Lyra said, noticing that her fear had slightly decreased. The human had been nothing like the aggressive creatures from her research videos. After Jack left, she opened her research journal. Day 4 of Human Observation Mission. Unexpected direct contact with human technician. Subject displayed. Awareness of other species' comfort levels. Careful handling of both equipment and social interaction. No signs of aggression or frustration. Deliberate adjustment of behavior to appear non-threatening. Note: further observation needed. Single interaction not sufficient for changing threat assessment, but interesting, asterisk. She looked at the now functioning temperature control panel. Perhaps there was more to humans than her research had suggested. Over the next few days, Lyra found herself watching Jack through the station's security feeds more than any other human. She told herself it was because he was an interesting research subject, but deep down, she was curious about him. She noticed how he helped a small robot species reach high shelves, adjusted his voice to a lower volume around sound-sensitive aliens, and always asked permission before entering someone's personal space. This wasn't the behavior of a dangerous predator species. One morning, she gathered her courage and ventured to the station's observation deck during its least busy hours. She chose a quiet corner and set up her data tablet, pretending to work while actually observing the humans around her. Jack was there, helping an elderly human with their walking aid. Lyra's head tendrils twitched with interest as she watched him work. Suddenly, a loud alarm blared through the station. Warning: hull breach detected in Section 7. Emergency protocols activated. All personnel begin evacuation procedures. The observation deck erupted into chaos. Different species rushed toward the exits, some flying, others crawling, and many running. Lyra froze in terror, her scales turning almost white. Through the panic, she saw Jack helping the elderly human toward the emergency exit. But instead of continuing with the evacuation, he turned back and looked around the deck. His eyes found her. "Lyra," he called out, jogging over to her corner. "We need to go. This section will be sealed off soon." She couldn't move. Her species had an unfortunate freezing response to extreme stress. I can't," she whispered. Without hesitation, Jack knelt down to her eye level. "Your species freezes up under stress, right? I remember reading about that. Would it be okay if I helped you?" Through her panic, Lyra was surprised he knew this about her species. She managed a small nod. "I'm going to lift you, okay? I'll be very careful." His movements were slow and telegraphed, just like when he fixed her temperature control. The station's AI spoke again. "Warning: Section 7 will be sealed in 3 minutes." Jack gently picked her up, cradling her small form against his chest. Despite her fear of human strength, she felt surprisingly secure. He moved quickly but smoothly, making sure not to jostle her. They reached the emergency shelter just as the blast doors were closing. Inside, Lyra noticed many other small species being carried or helped by humans. None of the humans had simply run to save themselves. Once they were safe, Jack carefully set her down. "Are you okay?" he asked, genuine concern in his voice. Her scales had begun to regain their normal silver color. "Yes. Thank you. You came back for me." "Of course I did. Nobody gets left behind." He said it like it was the most natural thing in the world. Later, after the hull breach was repaired and everyone was allowed to return to their quarters, Lyra made a lengthy entry in her research journal. Day 8 of Human Observation Mission. Emergency situation revealed unexpected human behaviors. Prioritized helping others over personal safety. Showed extensive knowledge of other species' biological responses. Demonstrated careful handling of smaller/weaker beings. Exhibited group protection instincts. Displayed no signs of panic-induced aggression. Personal note: previous research focused on human capacity for violence and destruction. Failed to account for equally strong capacity for protection and care. Must revise study parameters. Additional note: subject Jack specifically showed memory for xenobiological information, awareness of proper handling techniques for starborn, commitment to safety of all species, gentle use of superior strength. Question: are these traits common to all humans, or is Jack unique? Further observation required asterisk. She looked out her window at the stars, thinking about how Jack had come back for her without hesitation. Perhaps her fear had blinded her to something important about humans. They were more than just their strength and history of warfare. The next morning, she decided to do something unprecedented in her research. She would ask Jack to teach her about humans directly. It was time to learn the truth about this complex species. "You want to learn about humans?" Jack asked, his eyebrows rising in surprise. They were sitting in the station's garden area, a neutral space Lyra had chosen for their meeting. "I thought you were already studying us." Lyra's head tendrils curled with embarrassment. "I was, but only from far away. My research missed many things, like how humans can be gentle despite their strength." Jack smiled, and Lyra noticed she no longer flinched when he did. "What would you like to know? Why do humans help others even when it's dangerous? Like during the hull breach." "That's just who we are," Jack said, thinking for a moment. "On our home world, we survived by protecting each other. It's deep in our nature now." Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion at the garden's entrance. Three tall, reptilian aliens walked in, their scales dark and their eyes gleaming with hostility. Lyra recognized them as Kraxons, a species known for their aggressive expansion across the galaxy. "This station would make a fine addition to our territory," one of them said loudly, clearly wanting to be heard. Jack's posture changed subtly. He moved slightly in front of Lyra, but his voice remained calm. "This is a peaceful station. Everyone's welcome here as long as they follow the rules." The lead Kraxon laughed. "Rules are for weak species. We take what we want." Lyra expected Jack to respond with force. "Isn't that what humans did when challenged?" But instead, he pressed a small button on his maintenance badge. "You know," Jack said conversationally, "there's an interesting thing about humans and rules. We don't have them because we're weak. We have them because they help everyone stay safe, including you." The Kraxons moved closer, trying to look threatening. But Jack didn't move. He kept talking in that same calm voice. "For example, there's a rule about not starting fights on the station. It exists because if you do..." He gestured to the garden entrance, where several station security officers had quietly appeared. "You'll have to leave." The Kraxons looked around, noticing they were now outnumbered. The security team included humans and other species, all working together. "This isn't over," the lead Kraxon snarled, but they left without causing trouble. After they were gone, Lyra realized her scales had turned pale with fear. "I thought there would be fighting." "Fighting is a last resort," Jack explained. "Humans can fight well because we had to survive on a dangerous world. But we learned that solving problems peacefully is usually better." Later that day, Lyra made another entry in her research journal. *Day 15 of Human Observation Mission. Major revision to previous theories required. Observed. Humans use strength as deterrent, not first response. Show preference for peaceful solutions. Understand value of rules and cooperation. Protect others instinctively. Use intelligence to avoid conflict. Personal note. Subject Jack demonstrated perfect example of human behavior. Used. Strategic thinking. Nonviolent resolution. Protective instincts. Calm under pressure. Group coordination. Question. Is human aggression actually protective instinct misunderstood by other species? Need to research historical accounts with new perspective *. That evening, Lyra found herself thinking about how wrong her initial fear had been. The same strength she had feared in humans was what made them excellent protectors. Their supposed aggression was actually a deep drive to keep others safe. She looked at her wall of charts about human capabilities. Tomorrow, she would make new ones, focusing not on what humans could destroy, but on what they could protect. The station's alarms woke Lyra from her sleep. This time, it wasn't a hull breach. Alert. Unauthorized access detected in multiple systems. Station-wide lockdown initiated. Lyra quickly checked her research terminal. The security feeds showed Kraxon ships had docked at several points around the station. They had somehow bypassed the normal security protocols. Her door chimed. Through the camera, she saw Jack in his maintenance uniform. She opened the door immediately. "The Kraxons have control of the main computer," he said as he entered. "They're trying to take over the station." Lyra's scales paled. "Will the humans fight them?" "Actually," Jack said with a small smile, "we have a different plan. But we need your help." This surprised her. "My help? But I'm not strong like humans." "Strength isn't everything. You understand both human and non-human perspectives. That's what we need right now." Jack explained that the humans had noticed something about the Kraxons during their previous encounter. They never attempted to understand other species. They only tried to dominate them. "The station's got representatives from 50 different species," Jack said, "each one with different skills and knowledge. The Kraxons think that makes us weak. We're going to show them it makes us strong." Over the next hour, Lyra watched in amazement as humans coordinated with every species on the station. The tiny Microni could access maintenance tunnels too small for others. The floating aura beings could pass through walls to gather intelligence. Even the station's service robots were helping. The Kraxans had expected resistance from the humans. Instead, they found themselves facing challenges they couldn't understand. Systems would work perfectly one moment and fail the next. Doors would open for everyone except them. Their communications became jumbled with 50 different species languages. "I don't understand," Lyra said as she helped coordinate between different groups. The humans could fight them directly. Why choose this way? Because fighting isn't always about who's stronger, Jack explained while rewiring a control panel. It's about using everyone's strengths together. That's what humans do best. We bring people together. When the Kraxans finally reached the main control room, they found representatives from every species on the station waiting for them. Humans stood among them, not in front protecting everyone, but as equals. "This station exists because different species work together," Jack announced. "You can either join us or leave, but you can't take over what only works through cooperation." The lead Kraxan looked around the room, seeing the unity of different species. For the first time, he looked uncertain. That evening, after the Kraxans had agreed to leave peacefully, Lyra made another entry in her research journal. Day 22 of Human Observation Mission. Critical discovery about human nature. True strength isn't in combat ability. Humans excel at unifying diverse groups. They understand and use everyone's unique abilities. Victory achieved through cooperation, not force. Protection accomplished without violence. Personal note: humans aren't dangerous because they're strong. They're remarkable because they make others strong too. They don't just protect, they empower. Special observation: humans choose not to fight even when they could win through force. This isn't weakness. It's a deeper understanding of true strength. Lyra looked at Jack, who was helping other species repair the damage from the Kraxan occupation. She had come to study a dangerous species, but instead, she had found something much more interesting. A species that made the whole galaxy better by bringing others together. She realized that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their muscles or their endurance. It was in their hearts and their ability to see the best in others. Lyra stood before the Starborn Science Council, her scales shimmering with determination rather than fear. The Grand Chamber, with its curved walls and floating light crystals, held the most respected minds of her species. They had gathered to hear her report on humans. "Distinguished council members," she began, her voice steady. "I must revise everything we thought we knew about humans." Professor Reed, who had sent her on this mission, leaned forward in his hover chair. "Your preliminary reports suggest a complete reversal of your original position. What changed?" Lyra activated her data display, showing footage from Space Station Unity. "We've been looking at humans all wrong. We saw their strength and assumed danger. We saw their protective instincts and called it aggression. We were wrong." The footage showed Jack helping various species during the whole breach. Then it shifted to the Kraxan incident, showing humans organizing different species to work together. "As you can see," Lyra continued, "humans don't use their strength to dominate. They use it to protect and unite others. During my time on the station, I witnessed them turn potential enemies into allies, solve crises without violence, and risk their lives to help even the smallest species." One council member, her scales a deep blue with age, spoke up. "But what about their history of warfare, their violent past?" "Yes, humans fought wars," Lyra acknowledged. "But look at how they changed. They took their capacity for warfare and transformed it into a drive to protect. They turned their competitive nature into a force for cooperation." She showed more footage. Humans teaching other species, working together with robots, celebrating different cultural festivals. They're not just strong, they're adaptable. They don't just survive. They help others thrive. "And what of their unpredictability?" another council member asked. "Their emotional nature." Lyra's head tendrils curled with confidence. "Their emotions are their greatest strength. They feel deeply, yes, But that's what drives them to help others. Their empathy is as powerful as their physical strength. She shared her research journals, including detailed accounts of daily life on the station. Humans adjust their behavior for each species they meet. They moderate their strength, adapt their communication, and always seek to understand others' needs. Professor Reed studied the data carefully. You're suggesting we change our entire approach to human relations? Yes, Lyra said firmly. We've been so focused on what humans could do to us, we never considered what they could do for us, for the whole galaxy. She showed one final piece of footage, the moment when the Kraxans faced the United Species of Unity Station. Humans don't make the galaxy more dangerous. They make it safer by bringing different species together. They don't just protect the weak, they help them become strong. The council chambers fell silent as the members processed her words. Finally, Professor Reed spoke. Your evidence is compelling, Lyra. But tell us truthfully, are you not still afraid of humans? Lyra thought about Jack, about all she had learned. No, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm excited. Excited to see what humans will help us all become. That evening, after the council session, Lyra made what she thought would be her final research entry. Day 45 of Human Observation Mission. Final conclusions. Humans are not a threat to galactic peace. Their strength serves protection, not domination. Their greatest power is uniting others. Their unpredictability leads to creative solutions. Their emotions make them better, not dangerous. Personal note. Started this mission terrified of humans, ending it hoping we can become more like them. Perhaps that's their greatest gift to the galaxy, showing us what we can all become when we work together. But as she finished writing, an urgent message arrived from Unity Station. A crisis was developing that would test everything she had learned about humans, and everything she had just told the Council. The message from Unity Station was dire. A massive solar flare from the nearby star threatened both human and starborn space. The radiation would kill millions if it hit either region directly. Lyra rushed back to Unity Station, her earlier presentation to the Council still fresh in her mind. When she arrived, she found Jack already working with a team of scientists from different species. The Starborn have advanced shield technology, Lyra said as she joined them. But it's not strong enough to block this kind of radiation alone. And our human deflector systems can handle the radiation, Jack added, but they don't cover enough space to protect both regions. In the past, such a crisis might have led to each species trying to save themselves. But Lyra had learned enough about humans to suggest something different. What if we combined our technologies? She asked. Humans are good at making different things work together, right? Jack's face lit up with that familiar problem-solving smile. That's brilliant. Your shields could extend the range of our deflectors. The next few hours were intense. Humans worked alongside Starborn engineers, each teaching the other about their technology. Other species joined in, offering their own unique solutions. The Microni helped miniaturize components, while the Aura beings provided energy stabilization. This is exactly what I told the Council about humans, Lyra said to Jack as they worked. You bring people together, make them stronger than they are alone. Time was running out. The solar flare would hit in less than an hour. The combined shield deflector system was ready, but there was one problem. Someone needed to manually activate it from the station's outer ring, directly in the radiation's path. I'll go, Jack said, already putting on a protective suit. But the radiation. Lyra's scales paled with worry. Humans can handle more radiation than most species, he reminded her. And this is what we do. Protect others. Then I'm going with you, Lyra said firmly. Starborn understand shield harmonics better than anyone. You'll need my help to calibrate the system. Jack looked at her with pride. Not afraid of humans anymore. Huh. No, she said, putting on her own protective gear. Now I'm more afraid of not being like them when it matters. Together, they made their way to the outer ring. The radiation was already beginning to penetrate the station's normal shields. Working quickly, they connected the human and starborn technologies. Shield harmonics aligned. Lyra called out, her hands moving swiftly over the controls. Deflector array responding. Jack confirmed. Activating in 3, 2, 1. The combined system hummed to life. Through the viewport, they watched as a massive energy field expanded, blending the golden light of human deflectors with the silver glow of starborn shields. When the solar flare hit, it split around the protected regions like water around a rock. Later, in what she knew would be her actual final research entry, Lyra wrote, *Day 50 of Human Observation Mission. Final observation. I no longer study humans as an outside observer. Today, I worked alongside them as an equal. They taught me that true strength isn't about what you can do alone. It's about what you help others achieve. Personal note. When I first met humans, I thought they were dangerous because they were powerful. Now I understand they are remarkable because they use their power to make everyone stronger. End of research mission. Beginning of something new, *. The next day, Lyra accepted a permanent position on Unity Station as the first official ambassador between humans and Starborn. As she watched Jack teaching a group of young Starborn engineers about human technology, she smiled. She had come to study what she thought was the galaxy's most dangerous species. Instead, she had discovered its greatest hope.